Hey everybody, I'm back, this time with a video on virtual learning, and it's really for those parents who may have to work outside of their home. I did do a video talking about parents who will be working from home or parents who work in the home, and then how they can kind of work virtual learning into the rhythm of their lives. And if you are a parent who works outside the home, this information, especially if you're in Austin ISD, will be of some value to you. I had some questions about how AISD was doing virtual learning pods or communities or hubs or whatever you want to call them, and how that was going to work for folks when school starts and parents are, trying to work, but they want to make sure that their kids are learning. I reached out to Trustee Arti Singh, and she was able to forward my questions and get those answers back. And so I want to give you those answers so that we all can distribute and disseminate that information to our friends, neighbors, and fellow parents. The first thing is that I don't know if you're familiar with the pod, but a pod is kind of this idea where parents were like, what the heck, school is closed. It's not coming back the way I'd like it to come back. My kids really need this in-person thing happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get with several other families, maybe 2 or 3, because we do have a pandemic and you want to keep exposure limited. And you say, hey, let's hire this tutor to work with our children during the day, or let's hire this teacher who's not going to be teaching this year and have that work for our kids. There's not a lot of families in Austin ISD specifically that can afford to do that. There are some other families that say, yeah, we don't have a lot of financial resources, but we do have some people who are willing to give us a space, and we're willing to, still follow the Austin health protocols. And so we'll have 3 or 4 kids, and then one parent will be here this week and another parent will be here this week. So even without financial resources, these families were still able to create these sort of pods/hubs. So a group that I currently work with, and for lack of a better name, we're calling ourselves Equity in Pandemic Childcare and Education. And so one of the things we're looking at is, what about those childcare resources? What about pods and hubs? How do we make sure that everybody's having a chance to experience this, especially those families where parents are having to go away from their home to work? One of the things that was slightly disappointing for us, but I can always see that there's, a silver lining, is Austin ISD has said that they will not be personally responsible as a district for those learning hubs. They will be more focused on meeting the needs of special needs students, those exceptional students that need to be on campus at this point. They will be more focused on students who are without internet and devices. So if I think that Austin ISD has worked really hard to get that number down to nil, but for those, few that may not have access to technology or access to the internet, they will be having to focus on those students on the first few days of school. So for those of us who have to work outside the home, then where do our kids go? I'm sharing right now with a partner or maybe a grandmother or someone like that. But when school starts fully, how will my child be monitored? Because I will actually need to go out to work. Austin ISD has kind of handed this off to some of their partner organizations. Their new web page that talks about the fee and free resources for care centers where your child is able to go. There's only a very few online right now, but more are coming. The webpage can be found at austinisd.org/caregivers. The topics there are learning spaces, online learning, academics, health and safety, meals, technology. There's even some FAQs if you need to troubleshoot. There's all sorts of resources and phone numbers on there to connect with the district. It explains what a learning community is. Remember, these are not administered by Austin ISD. Some will be for a fee, some will be for free. If you're a facility or just taking in neighborhood kids, there's lots of good information in this document. It's just best to click through. Real quickly, let me just get to the questions that I ask. So forgive me looking down, I'm reading from my computer. But it says, where does childcare stand thinking of teachers on October 5th? And the response that I have is AISD has partnered with childcare programs, including full day care for infants, toddlers, and school-aged children for AISD staff and families at many campuses. These programs prioritize AISD staff for enrollment, and when space is available, the care is offered to essential workers and other families in the community. Many programs offer reduced fees for eligible families. More information can be found. And then again, I will link that website for you. And then it says there's an additional resource, the United Ways Connect ATX. I will also link that in a couple different places for you. So teachers, if you are working from your campus and not from your home and you need care, know that the district has prioritized you if you feel comfortable using care facilities. Also, if you have not worked out something with your district where you may be able to bring your child. I know that some districts are doing that. I have not heard that from Austin ISD, but you can always check on that if you feel comfortable doing that. My second question was, what is happening with learning communities or hubs? Who is administering? And as I stated before, they let me know that community learning spaces are being coordinated. A team led by Dr. Gloria Williams, Katie Castevens, and Lenore Vargas will be working to support those centers with training and with any kind of support when it comes to technology implementation for AISD students. So there will be no funding, there will be no AISD staff per se in those care facilities, but they will be doing trainings. And if the facilities are like, hey, what if a kid has a problem with Blend? Then there will be some like, here's a number you can call, here's something you can try, so that families know that their children are actually going to be able to learn during the day. While AISD cannot staff these learning facilities that are off-site locations, we are committed to providing curriculum and making resources available to every student. And then there will be access to meal programs. So if you want to raise your hand and say, hey, we will volunteer staff our church gymnasium as a space for kids to come and use Wi-Fi, those kids that you register and sign up, and AISD has nothing to do with that registration, that registration is solely left up to each individual partner. So if you register, but once kids are on that sort of roster, then those organizations can go and grab those free meals and bring them back to the facility so that kids are still having their meals for the day. If AISD is going to be working with partners, who do we contact? The response I received was, each learning center will develop its own staffing and support structures. AISD is the connector and not the coordinator. So again, if you say, I want to do the YMCA, or I don't know, I'm just going to give a name, Creative Action, or my church down the street said that they're going to be doing it. I mean, it's really parent choice. And I'll have another video about what to look for when it comes to choosing the right care facility for your child if you're going to be doing virtual learning now and then after October 5th. I asked, how soon will parents be able to register? Again, this is up to each individual facility as to each program, how they're doing it, and then what's required. My final question to AISD was, is there any more word about how the partners will step in? And again, it's basically those partners who are willing to raise their hand and willing to agree to do this, then AISD will support them in the ways that I've mentioned before. But there is no agreement with a group saying, if you are AISD facility, you must do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't exist. That's why I'll have a third video for you. That's what to look for in a facility. Then once you become part of that facility, how do you communicate daily? And then how do you loop in the facility administrators, coordinators, who's directly involved with your child, and the teacher? Like, how do you close the loop between all of you so that your child basically now has a team working for them during this time of virtual learning spaces? That's all I have for you right now. As I receive more information, you guys know that I will pass it on to you because we are in this together. You can reach me on Facebook at tbceduco.pe, or you can email me at thesame@gmail.com. I've just started a new Instagram for Teacher Bootcamp Parent Edition, so go on over there and please follow, and I'll be setting out information there as I get it. Stay home, stay safe. See you later, bye.